Recording in progress.
That's my cue, I think. Good morning, everyone. There we go. Welcome to the Positive Living Center. I want to welcome those on Zoom, first of all. Good morning, Zoomers.
They're waving.
Are they waving?
They're waving.
Yeah. Can you see them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Anybody on Zoom that's with us for the first time or has been gone for a while? Wave at me if you are. No? Okay, very good. And welcome to those here present with me in the sanctuary. It's good to see you all back. I don't see any newcomers. Do I have a newcomer out there? Or a recent newcomer? No, all veterans. Wonderful. It is the year 2025. The theme this year is remembering. And topic for the month of February is, as it should be, love. We've been talking about that through our speakers all this month, and it's been really interesting to hear everybody's ideas about Valentine's Day and love and those types of things. It's been very nice. Our musician today is Mr. Warren Cox. Now ask him to come up and play a little bit for us before we go into meditation. Let's give Warren some love, shall we? As he gets ready, I want to thank Barney Kaufman this morning. He's a trainee with our computerized systems here at the front, and I appreciate him volunteering to do that with us today. So thank you, Barney, very much.
You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you, God, for this moment in time to be here with all of these fabulous souls and thinking about the topic of love. Love reminds us of who and what we truly are and what we are meant to be and meant to do. It's wonderful when we can gather in a center like this to enjoy each other's company and to live, laugh, and love together. We're so blessed to have this community. And as it grows, our hearts grow. We are so, so blessed for this and so much more. And so it is. Thank you, Warren. That was beautiful. It's time for a spiritual thought, and I want to ask Cheyenne Hernandez to come up today to do that. Let's give her some love. Good morning, Cheyenne.
How are you? Good. Hello, good morning. Hope you are all well. I'd like to start off by asking you guys, what to you does love mean? If anyone has a thought, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about what the word love means to you. Yes, in the back?
Acceptance.
Yeah. Anyone else? Well, the meaning that I give the word love is that love is what we are. Love is our natural state, as you were saying. That love is nature itself, which abundantly feeds us. You know, the trees have what we need, and we give the trees what they need. It's a symbiotic relationship. I also believe that true love is an energy that blesses and enhances everything that it touches. So the kind of love that we see that is like, you know, has more of a weight to it and more of a heaviness and causes pain and heartache, I don't believe that that's the fullest expression of love. I think that it's an early manifestation of it, but I think we have a lot of learning to go through before we get to a truer expression of what love is. And also, I also give the word love the meaning that if it is what we are, we can never be separate from it. We can never be lacking it. It's always there. Now, I came to these realizations, or definitions anyway, the same way that most of us do, through lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of suffering, and then more suffering. My first memories of this type of suffering are from childhood. We've all been innocent children, just naturally expressing who we are and how we feel, which includes our need to give and receive love. Then something happens to us. Someone tells us we're wrong, or we're bad, or judges us, or mistreats us, or punishes us, or stops us from doing what we feel inclined to do. And in that moment, we feel separation. And this is not just the separation from the people that we care about and that we want to be accepted by, but it can also create an internal separation within ourselves, where we feel the need to reject or sweep under the rug a part of ourselves that is considered bad, and try to embody an idea of who we think we should be in order to be accepted by the people that we want to be loved by. But the main point of all this is that it leads to an inauthenticity that follows us throughout our lives. I spent so much of my life seeking completion in outer things and in relationships with other people, and I never found a love that lasted there, at least not until I found love within myself. Once I was rejected completely by someone I loved, and I grieved for 2 whole years, and this was like crying and wallowing that went on, and I didn't know when it was going to ever end. But once I hit the bottom of this mini death that I was going through, I realized that nothing could stop me from loving that person. Nothing could stop me from loving. Love was something inside of me. And that was a huge liberating realization. And so I'm grateful for that experience. This experience of rejection ended up being one of the best gifts that anyone ever gave me. Recently, I've discovered more ways that my childhood wounding contributed to patterns that I've experienced in relationships. Because as a child, I was told that I was bad for being my natural self. I still get triggered from time to time, as we all do, right? This manifests as me judging or blaming another, thinking that they're undeserving of my love, distancing myself from them and closing my heart, and reserving my right to be a rigid, unhappy, closed-hearted person. And I didn't really even realize I was doing this. I just thought I was right. So yeah, I felt right about doing this my whole life. And then when I took the Landmark Forum, I started looking at these patterns. I was actually existing in an inauthentic state and fighting for my right to be that way. I was fighting for my right to be a way that I didn't even want to be. Isn't it funny that we are so comfortable being a way that is inauthentic to our true nature, yet we insist on being that way because it's comfortable. So we defend that right to be that way. But when it became clear to me, I was able to surrender my judgment and blame and take responsibility for the way that I was being unloving. And then the only thing to do from there was to embrace love again. It was so simple, yet I had lived my whole life without fully being able to do this. And it cost me so many relationships in my life looking back. So I'm very happy and grateful that I get the chance to talk about these things with you guys because you're all a part of my community. And we need more authenticity and love in our community. We need to create a safe space where people can process the wounds of their past and then let their guard down and embrace love again. And with that, I invite you to embrace your authentic being and open your heart to loving and serving the world around you. And I hope that you enjoy the infinite freedom that that brings.
Yes, and so it is. Yes, she reminds me a lot of myself growing up, maybe like some of you. You know, you have your ups and downs and your loves and hates and all the things that we go through, especially as young people. And love hurts sometimes, but it doesn't stop us from loving again, does it? Because it's part of our nature. It's part of our God-given thing to love and to give out that love. It's beautiful, Cheyenne. Thank you so much. Let's have some music by Mr. Warren Cox, please.
This is a special request from Joe. Many of you will recognize this as the theme song to the television show MASH, but the actual name of the song is called Suicide is Painless.
Doesn't that just kind of put you into a trance inside of yourself? Plays so beautifully, and the music he presents is just so loving and caring and warm and acceptable. I can't say enough about his tones. Oh my goodness. Well, it's time for our main speaker this morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Luana Bull. Good morning.
Are you looking for Reverend Kim? She was scheduled to speak today, but she got a surprise visitor of that sore throat thing that's kind of going around. So she asked me to step in, and happy to do that. This morning's, as I found out yesterday, this morning's going to be a little more conversational, and I look forward to having that conversation with you. Cheyenne, thank you. Warren, oh, both of you. I'm just going, okay. I can just come up and say, God is, we are, and so it is. I would like to share Science of Mind, which is, the new thought stream of consciousness that we were introduced to. Ernest Holmes wrote quite the seminal work. By the way, many ministers, I understand Schuller had this Science of Mind textbook in his drawer. And Reverend Ike used Science of Mind. So a lot of ministers and a lot of different, Reverend Ike was kind of Pentecost and an evangelist. And Reverend Schuller, this probably is not meaning anything to the young people, but he was in Southern California and had a crystal cathedral that the community built. And at the time, that was the thing you did. You built something majestic for the majesty that was showing itself. In our book, Science of Mind, I looked up in the glossary, and there's really only 2 pages referencing love. So I'm going to focus on the one that I'm reading. They're one of those 2 pages. I'd like to start with, first of all, it's on page 478, and it says love, John 13:34 and 35. This is Ernest Holmes' languaging. Love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love, and that we are God's expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere, which defies analysis, as does love itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love. And love knows only love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. Love is God, and God is love. Words cannot express its depths and meaning, or nor meaning. But I just love that poets grapple with trying to express something through poetry, through the words. And I find that poets, and we are in our own way little poets, that poets convey so much in so few words, that the feeling, the consciousness of that poetry is immense. Rumi's poems, the one about there's a field beyond right and wrong, right doing and wrong doing, I will meet you there. Just love that. There's just it's so rich. I have a story for you. I've said it it was long ago, but I've said it and I'd love to say it again. I went to a music symposium, and at the music symposium there were workshops. And the workshop I was sitting in, there was a large crowd. It was about 35 people. How many here are familiar with Jesus Christ Superstar, 1973? Carl Anderson was in that, and he was at this music symposium. He was one of the panel. And another artist was there, and we were, he had a significant career and was still in it. And a young woman was, we were U-shaped, and they were at the front. And the young woman that was seated over here, she started to tell her story about going to different communities and singing. And as she sang, people were really responding to her message, to the songs and music that she did, and they loved it. And she kept getting asked, "Where's your CD?" Now, keep in mind, this is the time before streaming. "Where's your CD? Where's your CD? Do you have a CD?" And as she's saying this story of her journey, she starts crying. She starts letting it out. She's saying, "I don't have a CD." And she's hurt by the fact she doesn't have a CD. And she doesn't play a musical instrument. And she doesn't write original works. And she is distraught. She is just distraught. She goes, how can I do this? I just don't know how I can do this. And I don't write a music, Now, the response in the room started with Carl Anderson. And it was firm, and it wasn't the kindest and gentlest. He said, "Do you realize that you're praying right now?" And of course, she cried more. And he didn't mean to step on her last nerve, but he did. And she started to leave the room. And the first one that jumped out of the chair and went after her was Carl. And he stopped her at the door, not forcefully, but with love. And he said, "Come on, come back. I'm just telling you that you can do it. You can do it." He goes, "I have never written my own music, and I do not play an instrument, and I have had a long career. Come on. So all this vigor and oomph was coaxing her back into the room, and she came back in. And then the artist with the guitar, gentle soul, said, "Can we circle around you? Can we go ahead and pray with you on this?" And she said, Sure. Tears still leaking out, but she's going, "Sure." And so people circled around, and this gentle soul touched her shoulder and led us all in a prayer for her journey, for her finding her way to get her music out to the people who were ready to take it home with them. Ready to take it home with them, and so we prayed. And we all encircled and we all prayed. And then the music symposium went on. Everybody went out to the next workshop and the next workshop and the time. And then at the very last day of the music symposium, there were 3 days. So the last night, the silent auction items, the announcements were going on about who had gotten the silent auction items, who had put the money for the things that had been donated, and one that had been donated had come up, and it was John Barnes' studio session to make a CD. And so when that came up, her name was called. And Carl Anderson saw her stand up, and he slapped his leg and he goes, yeah! And he was just so ecstatic that that had happened for her. And I got to be in the view of seeing her standing up with her checkbook and Carl Anderson, and I got to witness it all. She was going to go make it a CD. She was following her spiritual path, her journey. She was on it. And I got to experience, as a witness, every bit of it. And obviously it stayed with me, because here I am sharing it with you. It stayed with me, the richness of the connections, and the richness of being with her, and the richness of being for her. It was such a joy. When my dad died, right before he passed, I was in the room with him for the last few hours that I knew that he was conscious. And when I stepped out of that room, and we had always had kind of like he wanted me to be a lot different than I am. And I wanted him to be a lot different than he was. But when I stepped out of that room that night, after having a long relationship with my father that felt like we weren't that connected, the weirdest thing happened with no thought. I made a right turn, and boom, the awareness that we've always been connected. We were always connected. Came flooding in. So for me, love is that with and for, however we do it in our signature ways, and it's our connection, and it's always here. I, like Cheyenne, would love to hear if this brings forth anything for you on your relationship with love, people, or the things that you do. Anybody want to share? Then that's it. Namaste.
Thank you, Luana. Brings back a lot of memories for me as well. All those love connecting moments. I have a quick story for you that Luana is very familiar with. Our dog Corky, our little outdoor. We were walking him when we lived in Clovis. There's a small park behind us, and we were walking with him. And every time we walked him, usually there was a gentleman coming from the other end, and he had a little Scottish female dog, Scottish Terrier. And when that dog saw Corky, he just cut her loose, and she bounced like floating with hearts flying off of her. She was in love with Corky. And I swear to God, that's what I saw. And I was like, oh my God.
She did. She loved him.
And Corky's tail would wag, you know, he's a friendly guy. And she just couldn't wait to get next to Corky. And it happened so often, and all three of us would just smile and laugh about that. I go, oh my God, that's pure love. That's pure love right in front of us. Corky would, you know, say hi to her and stuff, and then he'd just walk away. He didn't seem very as interested as she was, but it was just so cute to see her floating toward this beloved dog that she felt for this love she had for Corky. So that's really true love to me. I love it. This is our healing circle service, so we're going to do that right now. I'm going to ask those who want to come up front and circle together. You're more than welcome to. If you feel comfortable just being seated while we experience this love and healing together, that's fine too. So whatever feels right to you. So if you want to come forward, let's do that now. Takes a while. And let's start by remembering who we are. We are all about love, all about kindness, all about being together. Wherever we are, God is. Let's take a few moments to think of someone that we care about. Or it could be a complete stranger that you met the other day who might be needing your prayer, your love prayer toward them. A healing prayer. Keep that person in mind as you send out that prayer to them. We know that prayer works. We have seen the result time and time again. Love heals. Your thoughts to these people you're thinking of do make a difference in such a positive way. Because of the power that we have through God. And then let us focus our attention on ourselves. Sometimes we forget to pray for ourselves. To help heal old wounds. To feel that love rush through us. That healing love. Perhaps forgiveness. is you won't. If you have someone's name you want to shout out their name, now's the time to do so. Ted. We thank you, God, for this moment together. To take the time to just be. And to concentrate our minds toward those that we are praying for and of. And for prayers for ourselves. We're so blessed to have this moment in time to remember who we truly are. Manifestation of God. I give great thanks for this, God. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That always feels so good, doesn't it? It lifts us. That's what I feel. Thank you for joining me in that. Could I ask a couple of people to come up and help me with offertory this time?
I like helping.
And let's state our offertory statement, please. Divine love
Divine love
flowing through me, blesses
blesses
and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you, ushers. Thank you all for your contributions. And those on Zoom, I'm pretty sure all of you know how to send your contributions toward the PLC. Information is in the iFocus if you receive that.
Yes.
Thank you, Jerry. The frog box is in the back of the room. It's where you can fill out prayer requests and fold that up and put it inside the frog box. I collect those each week, and I put out those prayer requests through all the ministers and practitioners here. And I'm telling you, I hear so many great things from those prayers. People send a love to me or call me or text me and tell me about their fabulous healing they've received from prayer. And that's why we do what we do, because we know that prayer works through God. I have an announcement. This is from Jackie Stringer. She couldn't be here today. Her class,
A Course in Miracles
her
group.
Course in Miracles. I was getting there.
Okay.
Course in Miracles.
I just sorry.
The Course in Miracles
You got her married.
has been changed. And I've got the info. I really do.
It's going to be on Sundays after service.
Yes, it's going to be on Sundays. I believe the third Sunday of each month.
Oh, that I don't recall.
Yeah, that's what I believe it is. The third Sunday of each month,
The 16th.
starting March 16th. She will continue that gathering again with you who are interested in doing so. So she wanted me to let you know about that. Any other announcements? Cheyenne?
I'll be playing in Merced on Tuesday at 6:30 at the Youth Revolutionary Front for the Leonard Peltier Freedom Day, Teach-In Day. And it'll just be like maybe 10 of my original songs. And so if you can make it, great. And if not, I understand because it's far away.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Anybody else? Announcement? No? Okay. I will be speaking to you next week. I look forward to that. I can't wait to hear what I have to say. And let's do our prayer of protection, please. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Yes, thank you. Warren, you have a closing song for us?
So normally I play something nice and slow and somber for you guys, but I'm not gonna do that this week. We'll get something a little more lively. This is a song I wrote many years ago, and it's called Stallion because it reminded me of the way the horses out there on the BLM land run around out there. So anyway, without further ado.
see horses just running and running and running. I hope you did too. That was beautiful. What a great way to end a day like today, this morning. Reverend Lorraine, you come up and give us a closing prayer?
If you join me. It is so good to acknowledge Source, to acknowledge the life that courses through our veins and how we are animated in this form, animated by that spirit energy. I am so grateful for all the energy and all that was shared today, and who we are, and this life we're living. Gratefully, I have expectancy on the more that is yet to be revealed. And so it is.
Thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you next Sunday. Have a great day.